On this episode of the Open in Indiana podcast, we speak to a property manager serving Fort Wayne and the surrounding area. Don't miss it. Welcome, everyone, to the Open in Indiana podcast, where we promote the people, places, and events that make Indiana a great place to live, work, and visit. Today, our guest is Dakota Bailey, owner of LTD Property Group. Dakota, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
Great. So, Dakota, let's talk a little bit about your company, LTD Property Group, and how you're able to serve your clients.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, what we do is what we're looking to do is get some more rentals. How we're able to help other people in that process is we buy houses cash, which means that you don't have to get appraisals on them. We buy them as is, so you can take or leave whatever you want. You don't have to do repairs on it or anything like that. And then a way that we kind of set ourselves apart and do things a little bit differently from everybody else is we'll actually help you move at no additional cost. We pay all closing costs. But the biggest thing that we do that a lot of other people don't is we'll actually like help you move your stuff to the next house, and we'll try to help you relocate as well, because that's the biggest struggle whenever we are buying somebody's house is, hey, where are we going to go? And so we try to help with that process and make it very simple and easy for you as well.
And so, Dakota, you also do the rental management side of business. After you've purchased the house, you then get tenants to occupy the dwelling?
Yep, that is correct. So whenever we do purchase a property, a lot of times they do need repairs. So what we do is we go in, renovate them, and we try to make things like extremely nice. A lot of times people actually say that, hey, you guys are over fixing your rentals, but we try to make it like very nice and a good place for people to live. And then my business partner, his name is Tony. He actually is the one who screens tenants and then tries to help find them for a place to live as well. So yeah.
So, Dakota, let's talk about your background before you got started with this business. How did you get into the industry?
Sure. Yeah. So when I first started off right out of high school, I was in landscaping. And in landscaping, I always had to find a job in the wintertime. So, I worked in a factory sometimes. I was a mechanic, just found different jobs like that. And then ended up applying for a sales job, actually at Glenbrook Hyundai, and just started getting in sales and did pretty well in sales. And then a friend of mine actually reached out, said, hey, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? And my friend Tony, who's now my business partner, actually was like having me read these business books and self-development and stuff. And it was more on the sales side, getting into real estate, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, stuff like that. And so I was like, yeah, I have thought about getting into real estate. And I was like, so if I want to get into this business with you, I want my friend Tony to be involved as well. And that's kind of how it started. Was just went from sales, somebody reaching out to me. And that's what LTD stands for. Actually, it was Logan, Tony, and Dakota. And then Logan actually ended up, he's playing video games now, Kimmel Gaming, and he's making 6 figures a year playing video games. So we actually ended up buying him out. And so now it's just me and Tony now. But yeah, that's how it all started.
Awesome. And so how long now has LTD Property Group been up and running?
Yeah, it's been about 3 years now.
Wow. And so what's one thing that you wish you knew when you were just getting started?
Man, that's a tough question, actually. I would say that there's a lot more support out there than what you think, because we're an extremely competitive business, but there's a lot more people out there that will actually help you. They will tell you like, hey, here's how to calculate what it's going to rent for. Here's how to find good tenants. Here's how to make sure that you don't get in trouble with the law. Here's how to buy the properties. And there's just a lot of people that are actually willing to help you at no cost. And so now we're trying to give that back to other people. But at first, when we first started getting into it, we're like, man, like we're gonna have to figure this all out ourselves. But there's a lot more support out there than what I thought whenever we originally started. But I will say that there's a lot more people out there that are aggressive as well. So always be careful with who you give the information to, because sometimes you tell people things, they'll try to take the deal, but there's definitely good people out there that will help you through it. So
And so Dakota, that brings up a good point. So what's one thing that you could offer to our viewers and listeners that's something to look out for if they're looking to sell their home, or even for the tenant who is looking for a place to live? What kind of advice would you offer to them in choosing the right property management company to work with?
So one thing that we've noticed that's happened with our rentals that I would watch out for is if anybody asks you to send money out of state, like that is a big red flag. If they say, hey, I'm not there right now, just go check it out. Because what they do is they take our rentals that we have pictures of, or listings sometimes, because me and my business partner are both licensed agent, will list a house for sale. They'll take those same pictures, say that they're for rent, and say, hey, go check out the house. I'm out of town right now. They'll say, just send me the rent money and I'll give you the lockbox code in a week. So I would say if anybody's asking you to do anything like that, just watch out for that. And a lot of times people think that we're involved with that, but like really they're hurting us too. And a lot of times rent is actually lower than what the market rent should be. Just that way they're getting the money. But I would say watch out for anybody who's asking you to send money far away, which it seems like it should be like, intuition, like you should know that. But I mean, they're pretty good.
And so on the other side of that, to someone looking to sell their home, what's one piece of advice that you can offer them about working with someone if there's an offer out for their home?
And selling their home, that's a very tough situation, because sometimes we're not necessarily like the going to be the highest offer or anything like that, but it might be the best for their situation. So I would get really clear on what you want to do. Do you want to list it on the market with a real estate agent, because we are realtors, so we can list it for you as well? Or are you looking to do the repairs yourself and actually get it listed? Or are you just wanting to be done with it, get rid of it? Because those are two different prices. So if you want to list it on the market, a lot of times people want some nicer houses and they want them fixed up and stuff. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to put that money into it to actually get it fixed up to list, or you just want to be done with it and accept a cash offer? And a lot of times the cash offer is going to be 70% of what you could get on the retail market. So that's something that I would say that definitely find out what you want to do before contacting somebody, like, if we buy houses or anything like that, because it's going to be a cash offer. It's going to be nice, easy, quick, no appraisals, no contingencies, buy it as is, take and leave whatever you want. But there's obviously got to be room for profit. So if you want to get the maximum amount, there's certain things that you could do to try to do that as well. And we usually advise people like, hey, this is what it would be if you list on the market. Here's our cash offer, and kind of give you both options. So.
And so Dakota, how can our viewers and listeners get in touch with you if they would like to learn more?
Sure. So business phone number is 260-222-7067. And that's going to go to me and Tony. So you guys can just reach out to us. We also have some Google reviews. We have over 69 5-star Google reviews. And like I said, we've been in business for 3 years now, and we try to act with integrity, which is going to be different from some other companies in town that we know. They'll tell you one thing, and then by the time you go to the closing table, you find out something else. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Just give us a call, or you can always search on Google LTD Property Group, and we should pull up.
Awesome. Well, Dakota, thank you so much for being our guest today. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you for catching this episode of the Open in Indiana podcast. Catch our next episode soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Open in Indiana podcast. If you enjoyed listening, subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, iHeartRadio, or on our website, openindiana.com/OII podcast. Thanks for listening.